often get asked, Liz, how do you know when it's working? You know, how do you know when we're taking the steps and that it's actually making a difference? And I remember the first time I was asked this question, it's like, oh, yeah, good point. And what I came up with at the time was that, yeah, you know, we're going to get triggered, we're going to get upset, but rather than spiraling, you know, it may not take us as long to come back to our true self, or we may not go as deep as often or stay there as long as we have done in the past. And also what I've come to see is that it's when we're in a similar situation and we respond in a different way. And there are times now where maybe someone said something and it's almost like I can see the words pass me by and no longer get you know, triggered by them or make them mean something about me or similar. So an example of this morning, where I really sort of noticed doing things differently, I was on a coaching call Being Coached in a business coaching group that I'm part of. And I noticed a few things. The coach was just about to move on to the next point, and I asked him to just pause, and as I had a question, and it was, you know, it was very much a sort of conversational session, so I wasn't like interrupting the middle of this presentation, but an old version of me would have either tried to write the question down or say it didn't matter or whatever else. And then I had a real obvious, don't want to call it stupid question, but I was like, oh, am I really going to ask that? And it was like, yes, I actually am. And I did. And I got a great answer. And then, yeah, right at the end, we were just doing a bit of a wrap up. And the presenter had, coach had his screen share still up on Zoom, you know, and it was a lovely wrap up to bring us all back in together after the session. And so I just said to him, oh, you know, is there any chance you could just stop sharing your screen so that we can see each other? And again, you know, it may sound simple to some, but for me, I would never have done that in the past. You know, wouldn't have wanted to intrude or get it wrong. And yeah, I think what's really sort of resonating for me is around taking up space. And sometimes if we don't feel worthy or we don't feel enough or we don't feel that we've got anything to contribute, it can be very hard to take up space. So yeah, would love to hear from you if that's something that you struggle with, or what might be markers or signs that things are changing for you.